Welcome to SourceFed. My name is Elliot Morgan.
And I'm Lee Newton.
Two things you don't often hear in the same sentence are sex and economics. About between the 60s and 80s, the Western world experienced what became known as the sexual revolution, defined by challenging the status quo regarding sexual relationships, sexual orientation, and traditional family norms.
There were many results, direct and indirect, of the sexual revolution. Contraception, the pill, premarital sex, and the legalization of abortion were all spawned by the sexual revolution.
Up until now, it's believed that the sexual revolution occurred largely because of the pill in the 60s. The idea is that once the fear of pregnancy was no longer an issue, sex became more commonplace. Now, fast forward to 2013, and you have Emory University economist Andrew Francis, who is challenging that idea, using economics of all things.
He stated, "It's a common assumption that the sexual revolution began with the permissive attitudes of the 1960s and the development of the contraceptives like the birth control pill. The evidence, however, strongly indicates that the widespread use of penicillin, leading to a rapid decline in syphilis during the 1950s, is what launched the modern sexual era."
That's right, penicillin, and specifically the fact that the wonder drug dropped in price so that the American public could easily afford it. Now, let's jump back to the late 30s and early 40s.
Back in the day, syphilis was a huge deal. In much the same way that AIDS is feared today, syphilis was a sexual deterrent. It reached its peak in 1939 when it killed 20,000 people. Penicillin was discovered in 1928 to cure syphilis, but wasn't thrown into the market until 1941. Thanks to World War II, it soared in popularity through the military and then became a clinical staple.
And that's when we get ourselves a sexual revolution. All of a sudden, the main concern with widespread sex became something that could be cured quickly and efficiently at little cost.
From 1947 to 1957, the syphilis death rate plummeted by 75%, and the incidence rate plunged by 95%. Francis determined all of this by studying three factors: illegitimate birth ratio, teen birth share, and the incidence of gonorrhea. Francis stated, "As soon as syphilis bottoms out in the mid to late 50s, you can start to see the dramatic increase in all three measures of risky sexual behavior."
Francis concludes that while there are certainly other factors, the economic factors have been largely overlooked for the past half-century.
He stated the 1950s are associated with prudish, more traditional sexual behaviors. That may have been true for many adults, but not necessarily for young adults. It's important to recognize how reducing the fear of syphilis affected sexual behaviors.
So tell us what area you think is largely affected by the economics of antibiotics down below.
And of course, click that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Click the sanitation or head on over to SourceFed.com. I'm Lee Newton.
I'm Elliot Morgan.
I'm not allergic to penicillin.
Good job.